In my past life, I gave up my family's arranged marriage and broke with them for my white moonlight lily, falling from a favored son to a penniless man. I worked like crazy to make money, paying for her graduate studies and buying her designer goods, while I couldn't even bring myself to buy a single new outfit. But on the day she graduated, she linked arms with my best friend and climbed into his Ferrari. Ethan, thank you for everything you've done these past few years. Consider it me giving someone from the lower class a chance to come into high society. My brother hugged her, contemptuously flicking the dust off my collar. A simp must have the resolve of a simp. My heart was dead. A car accident had reborn me back to the day of the confession. This time, when my brother asked me again, "Do you like Lily?" I smiled, put my arm around his shoulder, and nudged him toward Lily. "No, I think you two are a perfect match. I'll play wingman for you." My brother and Lily froze, while I dialed the number of the marriage partner I had coldly hung up in my previous life. It was very quiet on the other end. After a moment, a cool, distant female voice came through. "Who is it?" There wasn't a trace of emotion in the voice, like a lake frozen in winter. "I'm Ethan." "You're betrothed," I added. Another long silence. So long, I thought she'd hang up. "Sophia." She gave her name as a reply. "I know you don't want an arranged marriage, and neither do I." Her voice was as direct as a surgical knife, precise, cold. "But I need a nominal fiancé to ward off some trouble. As compensation, the Johnson family will lift their financial blockade against you. I'll also help sort things out with your parents. A marriage of convenience. Each gets what they need, no interference." Think about it. I almost laugh out loud. In my last life, I shoved this highway to the heavens away with my own hands for Lily's so-called love. In this life, I couldn't want it more. No need to think about it. I said into the phone, looking at Lily and Jason still dazed a short distance away. "I agree. I'll send the address to your phone. See you in half an hour." He hung up the phone, decisive and brisk. I put my phone away. Jason and Lily had already come over. Jason looked utterly incredulous. "Ethan, are you serious? You're really giving Lily to me?" Lily's face was sullen, her eyes flashing a hint of indignation at being dismissed. She had grown used to my constant flattery. My sudden letting go felt like an affront to her. I couldn't be bothered with their inner dramas, so I patted Jason on the shoulder. "Treat her well. She's the treasure I never had the heart to touch." These words were meant for Lily to hear. Her face went pale in an instant. The agreed-upon cafe. I arrived 10 minutes early. A woman sat by the window, wearing a well-tailored beige long dress, her long hair pinned up, revealing a graceful section of neck. She didn't look at her phone, nor out the window. She just sat quietly, as seen unto herself. I walked over and pulled out the chair across from her. "Sophia?" She looked up, a plain but exceptionally pleasant face, with gentle brows and eyes, yet her gaze was sharp, as if she could see through people's hearts. She was more elegant in person than in the photo. "Ethan," she nodded in greeting. A waiter came over. She ordered only a glass of ice water. I did the same. She took a document out of her clutch and pushed it in front of me. "Agreement. Take a look and sign if there are no issues." I picked it up and skimmed it quickly. The terms were clear, with responsibilities and rights distinctly defined. The wedding was set for a year. Outwardly, we played a loving couple, but privately, we didn't interfere in each other's lives. She helped me resolve my family's troubles and restore my identity and income. I helped her fend off a suitor she didn't want to deal with. After a year, we would divorce amicably, and she would give me a generous settlement. No problem. I borrowed a pen from the waiter and signed my name on the last page. A flicker of surprise passed through Sophia's eyes. She probably hadn't expected me to be so straightforward. She put the documents away and returned them to her bag, every movement meticulous. "From today on, we are engaged. Save my phone number. Contact me if anything comes up. Keep a consistent line externally. Don't let anything slip." I understand. The atmosphere was somewhat heavy. Neither she nor I were people of many words. At that moment, my phone began vibrating like crazy. It was dozens of messages from Lily. Ethan, what do you mean? Are you sulking with me? Who did you just go to see? Do you have someone else? One question after another, as if I were some heartless villain who'd committed an unforgivable crime. Sophia's gaze landed on my phone screen, her brow lifting slightly. I flipped my phone face down on the table, and the world quieted. An ex-girlfriend? She asked. Not exactly, I replied coolly. An immature junior. After splitting with Sophia, I didn't go back to school. I went straight home. The villa I had once sworn never to set foot in again for Lily. The butler saw me, his mouth widening in surprise. Then he immediately bowed respectfully. Mr. Ethan, you're back. My parents were watching TV in the living room. Hearing the noise, they turned and were stunned to see me. My dad jumped up suddenly, the remote in his hand clattering to the floor. His face was ashen, pointing at me. You actually came back? My mom's eyes were red. She hurried over, grabbed my hand, and scrutinized me from head to toe. Ethan, you've lost weight. You've been through hardships out there, haven't you? My heart tightened. In my previous life, until I died in that car accident, I never managed to win their forgiveness. I took a deep breath and, facing my father, knelt down straight. Dad, Mom, I'm sorry. The living room fell deathly silent. My dad probably expected me to do what I'd done before. Have a huge fight with him over Lily and storm out. He didn't expect me to kneel. His whole body trembled, his lips moved, but no words came out. My mom was the first to react. She hurriedly pulled me up. You child, get up quickly, the floor is cold. I didn't move, looking at my father's eyes, word by word. I will no longer have any entanglement with Lily. I agreed to a marriage of convenience. I just met with Miss Taylor and signed the agreement. My father was completely stunned. The anger in his eyes gradually faded, replaced by something complex and appraising. Are you serious? Really? He was silent for a long time, then finally let out a long sigh and waved his hand. Get up. Let the kitchen make you something to eat. I knew it. This hurdle was as good as cleared. That night, lying in my long and used big bed, I received a message from Sophia. There was only one picture. It was a photo of a man, handsome, but his eyes carried an inescapable gloom. Beneath it was a line of text. He's called Victor, my main problem. Tomorrow is my birthday banquet. He will come. Your task is to make him know when to quit. Sophia's birthday banquet was held on the top floor of the most luxurious hotel in the city center. When I arrived, she was surrounded by a crowd, like a queen adored by all. She wore a black velvet evening gown that made her skin look luminously pale. She nodded to the people beside her when she saw me, then walked toward me. I thought you might be late, she said, a hint of teasing in her tone. You don't dare slack off in front of the boss, I replied with a smile. She naturally linked her arm through mine. A faint, cool fragrance reached me, very pleasant. A sullen gaze fixed on us from not far away. It was the man from the photograph, Victor. He held a wine glass, his eyes staring straight at the hand Sophia had hooked through my arm, as if trying to burn 2 holes through it. He's Victor, Sophia whispered in my ear. It seems he likes you a lot. He likes my family background. Sophia's tone showed not a trace of emotion. At that moment, Victor walked over holding a wine glass. He looked at Sophia first, and his expression instantly turned gentle. Sophia, happy birthday. Then his gaze turned to me. That tenderness vanished instantly, leaving only scrutiny and hostility. Who is this? My fiancé, Ethan. Sophia introduced him first, her tone intimate. Victor's expression visibly darkened. He raised his glass toward me, smiling with a forced smile. It turns out to be Mr. Johnson. I've heard of you. Sophia and I grew up together. I've never heard her mention having a fiancé. This was a declaration of possession, and also a hint that I was merely a latecomer. I smiled and returned the toast. I don't need to report my situation with Sophia to outsiders. Victor's mouth twitched. I could feel Sophia holding my arm, seemingly a little tighter. Halfway through the banquet, my phone rang again. I went out to the secluded terrace to answer. It was Jason. His voice sounded excited and a little boastful. "Ethan, where are you? Lily and I are together now. She agreed to be my girlfriend." To celebrate, I rented out the Twilight Bar. "Come over quickly, it's on me. I'll also show you what a good life Lily can have with me." I hadn't spoken yet when another voice came through the phone. It was Lily. She sounded tearful, her voice full of grievance. "Ethan, why are you doing this to me? Do you not love me anymore?" I laughed out loud. What act is this? A two-person slapstick with the red face and the white face? I was about to hang up when I suddenly heard footsteps behind me. When I turned around, Lily was standing there. She was wearing an obviously ill-fitting cheap dress, her makeup a mess, her eyes red as she looked at me with a face full of shock and grievance. "Ethan, how are you here?" She saw the expensive suit I was wearing in the lavish banquet hall. She also saw Sophia, not far away, looking this way. Jason probably brought her to this hotel to show off and to provoke me, except at his level, he couldn't even get through the banquet hall doors. Lily looked at me, then at Sophia, and suddenly seemed to understand something. She rushed over, grabbed my arm, and tears fell. "You don't want me because of that woman, do you? Ethan, how can you do this to me? For money, you would even throw away our relationship." Her voice was loud, successfully attracting the attention of the guests nearby. A smirk of someone enjoying the show tugged at Victor's mouth. Sophia's expression cooled. I pulled my arm free from Lily's grip without the slightest hesitation. "Miss, you've got the wrong person." My voice wasn't loud, but it was clear enough. Lily froze, tears still clinging to her eyelashes. "Ethan, I told you, you've mistaken me for someone else." I cut her off, my gaze cold. She probably had never seen me like this before, and for a moment couldn't find the words to speak. At that moment, Sophia walked over. She didn't look at Lily, but went straight to my side, reached out, and with her fingertips gently brushed away the dust that wasn't on my shoulder. The gesture was intimate, yet carried an authoritative force that brooked no contradiction. "Ethan, who is this?" she asked, her voice cool. "I don't know," I replied. Maybe they took a wrong turn. Lily's face instantly flushed the color of liver. She finally reacted, pointing at me, her voice sharp. "Ethan, you liar. Didn't you say your family went bankrupt? Aren't you a pauper?" Those words drew everyone's attention to me, including Victor, a flicker of keen light passing through his eyes. Sophia's brows knitted almost imperceptibly. I looked at Lily, who appeared crazed, and felt nothing at all. In my previous life, it was exactly that pitiful act of hers that fooled me completely. I gave a light laugh. "Miss, you can eat carelessly, but you mustn't speak carelessly. My surname is Johnson, single given name Ethan, but I don't think I'm the pauper Ethan you referred to." My gaze swept across the room and finally landed on Victor. After all, my dad is the chairman of the Johnson Group, George Johnson. One sentence, and the room fell silent. The Johnson Group is the leading local enterprise. Everyone knows it. Victor's smile froze on his face. Lily stood rooted to the spot as if struck by lightning, her mouth open wide enough to fit an egg. That little bit of brain in her finally began to work. She remembered the home address I had occasionally let slip and the upscale restaurants I had taken her to that she had thought were rented. Everything connected together. Her complexion shifted from red to white, then from white to pale blue, a spectacular display. "No, impossible," she murmured, stepping back unsteadily. Sophia gave her a cold glance and spoke to the guard beside her. "Please escort this young lady out. Do not disturb my fiancé's mood." Lily was escorted out by security. The farce ended just like that. The other guests soon returned to their chatter and laughter, but the looks they gave me held a bit more scrutiny and a touch of awe. Victor's face turned ashen. He tried to humiliate me using Lily, but instead I stepped on him and completed the declaration of my identity. He shot me a sullen glance and turned to leave the banquet. Sophia lifted a glass of champagne and handed it to me. "Good performance. Just doing a job for money." I clinked glasses with her. "I didn't expect you'd even deceive your own people." She looked at me, a hint of curiosity in her eyes. "Pretending to be poor, Was that fun? To see who people really are. I took a sip of wine and said no more. The heart-wrenching pain of the past life need not be mentioned again. After the banquet, Sophia asked me to take her home. Her apartment was on a high floor in the city center with an excellent view. Come in and sit for a while. She stood at the door and extended the invitation to me. I didn't refuse. The room was decorated in an ultra-minimalist style, black, white, and gray, just like her, calm and restrained. She took a bottle of red wine from the cabinet and poured a glass for each of us. Thank you for today. Just the terms of the agreement. I swirl my glass. Victor should keep quiet for a while now. She sat on the sofa opposite me, legs crossed. But he won't give up. I know. Sophia's eyes were cold. The Harrison family wants to use the Taylor family to make a comeback. He's my only breakthrough. So, our cooperation needs to be more secure. I watched her, waiting for what she would say next. She put down the wine glass and walked up to me. A sudden waft of cool fragrance surrounded me. She leaned down, placing her hands on the sofa beside me, trapping me in a small, confined space. We were very close. Close enough that I could see her long, delicate eyelashes clearly. Ethan, let's get engaged. Her voice carried a hint of temptation. I didn't answer immediately. Sophia didn't rush me either. She just looked at me quietly. Her eyes were bright, like stars in the deep night. Why so impatient? I asked. Because you performed very well today. It makes me feel that you are a competent partner. Besides, she paused. The longer the night, the more dreams there are. I understand. Victor was humiliated today. He would certainly try to investigate my background. Once he discovered that Sophia and I only have an arrangement, he would become even more furious. Only by nailing down our relationship could I make him give up completely. Okay. I nodded. A faint smile finally curved at the corner of Sophia's mouth. She straightened up and returned to her seat. It was as if the person who had been so oppressive a moment ago wasn't her. Tomorrow I'll have my assistant arrange everything. The engagement banquet's time and place, and whatever I need your help with. You'll be notified. No problem. When the matter was settled, I stood up to take my leave. As I reached the door, Sophia suddenly called after me. Ethan. I turned around. That girl today, was she someone you used to like? Yes, I admitted calmly. But sometimes your eyes get covered with something. Just wipe it clean. Sophia, hearing this, paused for a moment, then let out a soft laugh. Like an ice-covered lake, a crack appeared. I left the apartment, and my phone had dozens of missed calls from Jason and a pile of voice messages. I opened one. His roaring voice came through. Ethan, where the hell are you? How dare you hang up on me? Lily ran back crying. She said you found a rich woman and dumped her. Are you still a man or what? Come out if you've got the guts. I immediately blocked him on all contact. Like dealing with the dead. Nothing to say. The next day, I went back to school. Not to attend classes, but to process a leave of absence. Since I no longer had to pretend, there was no reason for me to stay here and waste time. My father had already arranged everything for me, to go straight into Johnson Group, starting from a grassroots project team. I had just finished the paperwork and stepped out of the administration building when I walked straight into two people, Jason and Lily. They were clearly waiting here to confront me. Jason's eyes were bloodshot, his face haggard. When he saw me, he looked like he'd found the man who killed his father. He lunged forward as if to grab my collar. I sidestepped, and he lunged at empty air. Ethan, you finally showed up. God damn it, he roared. Lily stood behind him, her face pale, looking at me with a complicated expression. She had changed back into her usual clothes, no longer disheveled from last night, and had returned to that innocent, pitiable look. Ethan, let's talk. She spoke, her voice hoarse. There's nothing to talk about. I walked around them, ready to leave. Stop. Jason blocked me again. Make yourself clear. Why did you lie to us? Lie to Lily. I paused, feeling somewhat amused. What did I lie to you about? You said your family went bankrupt. You said you were poor. Jason fumed. I just didn't say my family was rich. You decided I was poor yourself. I looked at him calmly. Every penny I spend is money I earned working. In that respect, I really am a pauper. Jason was left speechless by my retort. Lily stepped forward, her eyes reddening again. Ethan, look at me. Tell me, when you were with me, were you laughing at me the whole time? You watched me skimp on meals and eat the cheapest food in the cafeteria. Watch me burn the midnight oil for scholarships. Watch me turn down so many suitors and steadfastly choose you who had nothing. Didn't you think I was terribly foolish? Her voice was full of accusation and grievance. If I hadn't died once, I almost would have believed it. I looked at her word by word. You're not stupid. You are greedy. You chose me not because of love, but because, in your understanding at the time, I was the one who treated you best, was most willing to give, and was easiest to control, a potential investment. You rejected those suitors not out of loyalty, but because their investments didn't exceed the value I gave you. Lily, you're nothing more than a merchant who precisely calculates input-output ratios. Unfortunately, you miscalculated the single largest chip. My words were like a knife, slicing through all her pretenses. The color drained completely from her face. Lily staggered back a step, her lips trembling, unable to utter a single word. Jason, however, was like a lit firecracker. You're talking nonsense. Lily isn't that kind of person. He rushed forward and swung a fist at my face. I didn't dodge. Just as the punch was about to land on my face, a hand reached out from the side and firmly grabbed Jason's wrist. It was Sophia's driver and bodyguard, old Jean. My dad didn't trust me, so he specifically sent him to protect me. When old Jean exerted a little more force, Jason cried out in pain. Let go. You motherfucker, let go. Old Zhang's face remained expressionless as he increased the pressure in his hand by several degrees. Jason's face was distorted. I walked up to him and straightened my collar. Jason, you used to always say that people should have self-awareness. Now, I'm giving that line back to you. You and I are no longer people from the same world. I looked at Lily. And you, the Ferrari you wanted, he already gave it to you. You should thank me for finding someone more suitable for you. After saying that, I stopped looking at them and turned to sit in the car parked not far away. Old Jean let go, and Jason suddenly fell to the ground. The car started. From the rearview mirror, I saw Lily standing there in a daze, while Jason got up from the ground in a sorry state, pointing at my car and cursing helplessly. They really looked like two bereft dogs. Over the next few days, I began to familiarize myself with the company's business. My father gave me a newly established project team and put me fully in charge of developing a resort. This is a test for me. If I do it well, my position in the company will be secure. If I screw it up, those uncles waiting to see me fail will have ground to kick me out of the core team. Meanwhile, Sophia and I were busily preparing for our engagement banquet. The invitations were sent out, causing quite a stir throughout the entire high society circle. The union between the Johnson family and the Taylor family was undoubtedly a powerful alliance. The day before the engagement banquet, I received a multimedia message from an unknown number. I clicked it open and saw a few photos. In the photos, Sophia and a man were dining at a restaurant, acting intimately. That man was, to my surprise, Victor. Below the photos, there was a line of text. Ethan, you were deceived. She doesn't truly love you. You're just a tool she used to provoke Victor. The sender, no need to think to know who it was. Lily, she probably thought she had found something on me and couldn't wait to come see me humiliated. I forwarded the photo directly to Sophia. P.S. Nice acting. Next time you go out to eat, remember to invite me. I'll pay for you. She replied instantly. A question mark. I replied. Your admirers sent me a little surprise. There was a pause over there. Then they came back. Sorry for causing trouble. That was his last time bothering me. I invited him to dinner to make things clear. No problem. It was a good chance to see how low some people's IQ can go. I deleted the photos and messages and ignored it. I've seen this kind of childish scheming many times in my past life. On the day of the engagement banquet, the event was grand. Nearly all the city's socialites were in attendance. I stood beside Sophia in a couture gown, receiving everyone's blessings. She looked exceptionally beautiful today, wearing a white mermaid dress that outlined her perfect figure, with an appropriate smile on her face. When we exchanged rings, the flashbulbs lit up all at once. I saw my parents in the audience, grinning from ear to ear. In that moment, I felt a peace I had never known before. After being reborn, I not only want revenge, but also to protect my family. Halfway through the banquet, an uninvited guest appeared. Victor. He didn't have an invitation. He forced his way in. He had drunk a lot. His eyes were bloodshot as he stared at us on the stage. "Sophia!" he shouted, then staggered and rushed toward the stage. The security guards immediately stepped forward to stop him. He struggled wildly, pointing at me. "Sophia, don't be fooled by him. He's just a playboy. He's not worthy of you. Come with me. I can give you everything." Sophia's expression immediately cooled. Her father, Robert, turned even livid with anger and was about to order someone to throw him out. I held Robert's hand and shook my head at him. Then I picked up the microphone, stepped off the stage, and walked over to Victor step by step. All eyes in the room were on us. "Mr. Harrison, you say I don't deserve Sophia. Then who does?" I asked, my voice calm. "Of course it's me," Victor said without hesitation. "You?" I laughed. "With that Harrison group of yours that's been hollowed out and is leaking everywhere? Or with the pile of gambling debts your father still hasn't paid off?" Victor's face went pale in an instant. "You, how do you know?" "If you don't want others to know, don't do it." I leaned close to his ear and said in a voice only the two of us could hear. "Your father lost the last piece of your family's land at a Las Vegas gambling table. Your so-called good uncle was the one who told me about it. He also told me that you diverted company project funds to cover the hole. That's a crime." Victor trembled all over, and the look he gave me was full of terror. These are his greatest secrets, and the sword hanging over his head. I stood up straight and, using the microphone, spoke to all the guests. "Everyone, sorry, Mr. Harrison just had a little too much to drink and was joking with you. Mr. Harrison and I hit it off from the start. He said he wanted to transfer, free of charge, a resort project currently being developed under Harrison Group to me as an engagement gift for Sophia and me." I looked at Victor, whose face was ashen, and smiled. "Mr. Harrison, am I right?" The whole room erupted. Everyone looked toward Victor, waiting for his answer. His lips trembled as cold sweat slid down his forehead. He knew I was giving him a chance. If he denied it, I could immediately ruin him and his father, send them to disgrace and prison. If he admitted it, he would only lose one project, but could preserve the Harrison family's remaining dignity. He struggled for a long time, and in the end, as if all his strength had been drained, he listlessly nodded. "Yes, Mr. Johnson, you're right. It's for me, a wedding gift for Mr. Johnson and Sophia." Victor was escorted away. I easily defused the whole incident, and, while I was at it, picked up a resort project. This project fits perfectly with the case I'm handling. It's like a pie falling from the sky. The way Robert looked at me was full of praise and satisfaction. My dad was even more thrilled. Holding his wine glass, he went around showing off his accomplished son to his old friends. After the banquet ended, the guests left. Sophia walked up to me, the frost in her eyes melting a little. "When did you find out about the Harrison family?" "When you told me his name." She was somewhat surprised. "You figured out his entire family background in just one day? Know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never be defeated." I swilled my wine glass. "Your problem is solved now." "It's our problem," she corrected. Then she stood on her tiptoes and lightly pressed a kiss on my cheek. Cool and icy, with the mellow aroma of red wine. "This is a reward." I was taken aback for a moment and touched my cheek. She had already turned away, though the area around her ears was a bit flushed. After the engagement, my life completely got back on track. At the company, I firmly established myself thanks to that resort project. Sophia and I also began our cohabitation life. To appease both sets of parents, we moved into her large flat in the city center. We were like roommates sharing an apartment. We each went to work during the day, sometimes ate dinner together at night, and spent most of our time busy in our respective studies. Although we hardly communicated, that peaceful atmosphere made me feel very comfortable. That day, I was handling some documents when I received an unexpected phone call. It was my university counselor. "Ethan, how have you been lately?" The counselor asked in a concerned tone. "I'm fine, teacher. Is there something you need?" "Here's the thing. Doesn't the school have a financial aid scholarship? You applied before, but there was no follow-up. Recently, the school audited the accounts and found your slot had been taken." I raised an eyebrow. "Who? It was Lily." The counselor sounded a bit embarrassed. "She went to Jason's father, donated a building to the school, and specifically demanded that the slot be given to her. She said you didn't need it anymore and had given it up voluntarily. You left school suddenly during your leave of absence, and I couldn't reach you to confirm. This was due to the school's lack of oversight. We have already dealt with the people involved. I just wanted to tell you and offer an apology." I hung up the phone, my expression turning cold. "Lily, I haven't come to find you, yet you keep running repeatedly into the line of fire yourself. In my last life, that scholarship money was life-saving for me. To scrape together her tuition, I worked 3 jobs a day until my stomach bled from the strain. If I had that money, I could at least catch my breath. But I graduated and still never received that money. It turned out she had intercepted it. She used my poverty to complete her own ambition. What a calculating person." I dialed the assistant's number. "Help me check what Lily has been up to recently." The assistant was efficient and sent over Lily's information in half a day. She wasn't studying anymore. Through Jason's connections, she had gotten an internship at a well-known public relations firm. That firm happened to be one of Johnson Group's long-term partners, and the team she belonged to was currently competing for our company's biggest promotional project for the next quarter. I looked over the materials and smiled. You refuse the road to heaven and force your way into the gates of hell. The next day, I had my assistant notify that PR firm that I would personally hear their project proposal. In the conference room, I sat at the head of the table, looking at the 5-person group led by Lily opposite me. Lily wore a professional suit and refined makeup, looking proper and presentable. When she saw me, she clearly froze, a flicker of panic and hatred passing through her eyes. A colleague next to her nudged her, and she came back to herself and began the report. I have to say, her proposal was pretty good. Creative and practical, too. It seems the things she learned at school weren't wasted. When the report ended, several of her colleagues looked at me expectantly. Lily straightened her back as well, trying hard to look composed. She probably thought that in a professional setting, I couldn't settle personal scores. I closed the proposal and leaned back in my chair. The proposal is well done. Lily and her colleagues all showed looks of delight on their faces. But I shifted my tone. "I've heard that your team's lead planner, Miss Lily, has some issues with her personal background." Lily's expression changed. "I don't understand what Mr. Johnson means. Is that so?" I picked up the other file and tossed it onto the desk. Impersonation for scholarship, academic papers suspected of plagiarism, falsified internship experience. "Miss Collins, your college life has certainly been colorful." Each charge was like a slap, landing hard across her face. Her colleagues' expressions changed in an instant when they looked at her, from admiration to contempt and shock. Her supervisor, a middle-aged woman, looked even more disgusted than before. "Mr. Johnson, isn't there some kind of misunderstanding? Mistake?" I sneered. "The evidence is all here. Do you want me to read it to you line by line?" "Lily, our Johnson Group never partners with people of bad character. Your company is out of the running for this project. Also, I will have legal send a letter to your company recommending the dismissal of Miss Collins for her serious integrity issues. Otherwise, we will permanently terminate all cooperation with your company." My words pronounced Lily's death sentence. Her supervisor immediately stood up and bowed to me repeatedly. "Mr. Johnson, rest assured, we'll handle it right away." Immediately, Lily slumped in her chair, her face ashen. She could never have imagined that I would, in such a setting and in such a way, completely destroy her future. I came out of the conference room feeling refreshed. Back in the office, Sophia was actually waiting for me. She sat on the sofa, a finance magazine in her hands. "What are you doing here?" I asked, a little surprised. "Just passing by, thought I'd come up and see." She put down the magazine. "I heard you made quite a splash in the conference room today." My business had reached her ears so quickly. Just cleaning up trash. I poured myself a glass of water. That Lily, so easy to mess with. She's just too stupid herself. Sophia looked at me and suddenly laughed. I've noticed you have quite a strong sense of revenge. If someone wrongs me, I will repay them. That's fair. Very fair. She nodded and stood up. Dinner together tonight? My parents want us to go home for a visit. Meeting the parents? Go through the motions. In the evening, I followed Sophia back to Taylor's house. Robert and Mrs. Taylor were very warm, pulling me into questions about this and that. Everyone enjoyed the meal together. It was a convivial dinner. After the meal, Robert called me into the study. He made tea for me and got straight to the point. Ethan, you are a good kid. Capable, decisive. With Sophia entrusted to you, I feel at ease. But after all, your marriage was a contract. I only have one daughter, Sophia, and I hope she can find true happiness. I fell silent. I'm not going to force you. Robert sighed. Matters of the heart need time. I only hope that, in the coming year, you'll treat her well. If you two can genuinely develop feelings, that would be best. If not, I hope at least you can become friends. Coming out of the study, Sophia was waiting for me outside. What did my dad tell you? That I'm handsome. Sophia rolled her eyes at me. The ride home was very quiet. As we neared the apartment, Sophia suddenly spoke. Ethan, what if a year from now, I don't want a divorce anymore? My hand gripping the steering wheel tightened. I turned to look at her. She was staring out the window, the lines of her profile softened by the streetlights. I didn't answer. I don't have an answer to that question, at least not yet. Back at the apartment, I got a call from Jason. It was an unknown number, but I recognized him the moment he spoke. His voice was weary and hoarse, laced with a drunken slur. Ethan, come out, let's meet. No time. You have to come, he shouted. Lily is going to jump. She said she wants to see you one last time. When I arrived, Lily was sitting on the rooftop of an unfinished building, her legs dangling in the air. Very dangerous. Jason was pacing anxiously beside her, and several police officers had laid out an air cushion below. Seeing me arrive, Jason rushed over and grabbed me. You finally came. Go talk to her. She only listens to you. The confident look he'd once had was gone from his face, replaced only by haggardness and pleading. I shook his hand off, walked to the edge of the rooftop, and watched Lily's back. Are you finished acting? I said, my voice very cold. Lily froze, then slowly turned her head. Her hair was tousled by the wind, and her face was streaked with tears. Ethan, you finally agreed to see me. You're the one who ruined me like this. Are you satisfied? She asked through tears. You were fired from the company. It's your own doing. You think you can threaten me with this? I looked at her, my gaze devoid of any sympathy. I'm not threatening you, she cried out, agitated. I really don't want to live anymore. I have nothing left. No job. My reputation is ruined, and Jason can't support me anymore. She said that, glancing at Jason beside her. Jason's face turned very unpleasant. His family, having donated a building to the school before, and with business going poorly, was no longer what it used to be. Now he truly couldn't afford to support a Lily who had grown accustomed to a lavish lifestyle. So you want me to be responsible? I asked. Ethan, I know I was wrong. Lily softened her stance and began to sob. I really know I was wrong. I shouldn't have been blinded and followed Jason. I shouldn't have treated you like that. Will you forgive me? Let's start over. I can give up everything as long as I can be with you. She spoke as she carefully inched back from the edge of the rooftop. This was her usual trick, retreat to advance. If I softened, she would come down and wrap herself around me again. Unfortunately, I'm no longer the fool I was in my past life. I looked at her and smiled. Lily, do you know what I regret most? She stared at me in a daze. I regret that in my last life I gave you up. I gave up my family, gave up my future, and became a joke. I regret that when you were holding Jason's arm and calling me a simp, I didn't slap you. As for you, I said, pointing at her, you were never on my list of regrets. Because you don't deserve it. My words completely shattered her last hope. Her expression shifted from hopeful to shocked, and finally to despairing and resentful. "Ethan, I hope you die," she screamed, leaning back. Just as everyone thought she was about to fall, I lunged forward in one step, grabbed her wrist, and pulled her back from the brink. She collapsed in my arms, trembling with fear. The police and Jason both rushed over. I pushed her toward Jason. "I'm saving you not because I still love you. I just don't want my name to be linked in any way to your death. Lily, from now on, take care of yourself." After saying that, I turned and left, never looking back. After that rooftop fiasco, Lily and Jason vanished from my world for good. Later, I heard that Lily was traumatized by the incident and developed some mental issues, so her parents took her back to their hometown. Jason's family also went bankrupt. He left burdened with debts, and nobody knows where he went. Good and evil are repaid. Cause and effect circle around. They finally paid the price for what they had done. As for my life, it kept getting better and better. Sophia and I joined forces to merge the two resort projects and turn them into the city's top leisure and vacation district, achieving great success. My position in the company became unassailable. The working relationship between Sophia and me was quietly changing. We began eating together, watching movies together, and in the late-night study discussing work and life together. I discovered that she wasn't as cold on the surface as she appeared. She would laugh uproariously at a comedy film, squint with pleasure when she tasted a delicious dessert, and awkwardly stew an almost undrinkable porridge for me when I was sick. That frozen lake surface was gradually thawing. The year-long period came around quickly. That night, neither of us mentioned the word divorce. We sat on the balcony, feeling the evening breeze and drinking red wine. "Ethan," Sophia suddenly spoke. Do you still remember the question I asked you?" "Of course I remember. What if a year from now I don't want a divorce anymore?" I turned to look at her. The moonlight fell on her face, impossibly gentle. I set down my glass and took her hand. Her hand was a bit cold. I wrapped it in the palm of my hand. "Sophia," I looked in her eyes and said solemnly, "I don't want to be apart either." Her eyes lit up instantly, as if stars had fallen into them. She smiled, a smile from the heart. "Then let's change the agreement to a real one." "Okay." I leaned in and kissed her lips. This time it wasn't a cold reward, but warm, belonging to the beginning of our future. Reborn into a new life, I lost what I thought was love, but unexpectedly gained true happiness. It turns out that only by letting go of obsession can one embrace rebirth. This time, I will never let go again.